What if I told you that the Bible isn't just ancient history, but a living prophecy unfolding before our eyes? What if 7 undeniable signs of the end times are happening right now, and most people have completely missed them? 2 of these signs already manifested in 2025, slipping past us unnoticed while we were distracted by headlines and noise. And according to the Book of Revelation and compelling biblical studies, the remaining 5 are set to erupt in 2026. This isn't speculation. This is documented, predicted, and provable. Stay with us until the very end, because the final sign will change how you see everything. Welcome to Mysteries Behind the Scroll, where we decode the ancient warnings that speak directly to our modern world. Our journey begins in 2025 with the fulfillment of the first sign: the rise of unprecedented global digital identification systems. This wasn't just a technological leap, it was a seismic shift, echoing Revelation 13, verse 16, which describes a system where everyone, small and great, receives a mark to identify and control them. In 2025, multiple nations launched biometric ID programs tied to banking, healthcare, and travel. The European Union rolled out its digital identity wallet. India expanded Aadhaar to over 1 billion people. And the World Health Organization pushed for a global digital health passport. This wasn't isolated progress. This was coordinated infrastructure, the groundwork for a system where identity, access, and control are unified under digital surveillance. Then, we witnessed the second sign, the acceleration of a specific geopolitical alignment. Daniel chapter 2 describes a final kingdom made of iron mixed with clay, a fragile alliance of nations attempting unity but inherently unstable. In 2025, we saw the Abraham Accords expand beyond Israel and the UAE to include additional Middle Eastern nations. We watched BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, welcome new members, creating an economic bloc that rivals Western dominance. And we observed the formation of military alliances that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. Ancient enemies sitting at the same table, prophetic patterns repeating. Most people saw political maneuvering, but those watching through a biblical lens saw prophecy fulfilling in real time. Did you notice these signs unfolding around you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. But if you think 2025 was significant, wait until you see what's predicted for 2026. The next 5 signs are even more profound, and we're just getting started. Now, we turn our gaze to 2026 and the chilling prediction of the third sign, an unprecedented global food crisis. Revelation 6 verse 6 speaks of a time when basic necessities become luxuries, when a day's wage buys only a small amount of food. Recent studies from agricultural research institutes indicate that by mid-2026, we will face a perfect storm of conditions. Climate disruptions have already devastated wheat crops in Ukraine and Russia, the world's largest grain exporters. Drought has crippled rice production across Southeast Asia. Fertilizer shortages, caused by supply chain collapses and energy crises, mean lower yields globally. And economic instability is making food unaffordable, even where it's available. The United Nations World Food Program has warned that 2026 could see famine conditions affecting hundreds of millions. This isn't fear-mongering, this is data. And it aligns perfectly with biblical prophecy about a time when hunger becomes a weapon of control. The world is changing, fast. How prepared are you for these shifts? Let us know. The pace is accelerating. The next sign reveals a spiritual battleground unlike anything we've ever seen. Don't go anywhere. Next, we confront the fourth sign predicted for 2026, the rise of a global spiritual deception. Second, Thessalonians 2 verse 10, warns of powerful delusions sent so that people will believe the lie. Research from Digital Ethics Institutes suggests that by 2026, AI-driven narratives and virtual realities will create a landscape ripe for mass deception. We're already seeing the groundwork. Deepfake technology can now replicate anyone saying anything with perfect accuracy. AI-generated religious content is being created that blends truth with falsehood so seamlessly that even theologians struggle to distinguish them. Virtual reality churches and AI spiritual advisors are normalizing digital spirituality, disconnecting people from authentic faith. And emerging spiritual movements are repackaging ancient heresies as enlightenment, promising unity and peace while subtly eroding biblical truth. By 2026, experts predict that distinguishing reality from fabrication will require critical discernment most people simply don't have. The Great Deception isn't coming. It's already being deployed. And 2026 is when it reaches critical mass. Who is orchestrating this? What do you believe is the greatest deception facing humanity today? We're halfway through the 2026 predictions, and the next sign is a geopolitical earthquake that will reshape nations. You need to see this. Our fifth sign for 2026 is the formation of a specific regional alliance against Israel. Ezekiel 38 describes a coalition of nations from the north, Magog, Persia, and others, coming against Israel in the latter days. Intelligence reports and geopolitical analyses indicate that by 2026, the groundwork for such an alliance will be undeniably laid. Russia has deepened military cooperation with Iran and Turkey, the modern territories of ancient Persia and Magog. These nations are conducting joint military exercises, sharing weapons technology, coordinating regional strategy, and all of them have vested interests that conflict with Israel's security. Meanwhile, Israel's normalization with Arab states has created a counter-alliance, setting the stage for Ezekiel's prophesied conflict. By 2026, analysts predict that tensions will escalate to a point where this coalition either acts or is poised to act. The pieces are falling into place exactly as the prophets described. Do you see these geopolitical shifts happening? Only 2 more signs remain for 2026, and the next one impacts every single person on the planet. You cannot afford to miss this. The 6th sign for 2026 points to the emergence of a universal digital economic system. Revelation 13, verse 17, speaks of a system where no one can buy or sell without a mark, without the name of the beast or the number of its name. Economic forecasts and technological developments suggest that by 2026, the infrastructure for such a system will be fully operational. Central bank digital currencies are being rolled out by over 100 countries. China's digital yuan is already in use by millions. The European Central Bank is piloting the digital euro. The Federal Reserve is developing a digital dollar. These aren't alternatives to cash. They're replacements. And unlike physical currency, digital currency is completely traceable. Every transaction monitored, every purchase recorded, and it can be controlled, turned off, frozen, restricted based on behavior, beliefs, or compliance. By 2026, multiple nations will have transitioned significant portions of their economies to these systems. And the World Economic Forum is openly calling for a unified global digital currency framework. This isn't conspiracy, this is policy, and it aligns perfectly with biblical warnings about economic control in the end times. How do you feel about the future of money and control? You've made it this far. And now for the 7th and final sign predicted for 2026, the one that ties everything together and reveals the true nature of these end times. This is the most critical insight. The seventh and final sign is the normalization of transhumanism and the merging of humanity with technology. Revelation 13 verse 15 speaks of the image of the beast being given breath, being made alive, so that it could speak and cause those who refuse to worship it to be killed. For centuries, this seemed metaphorical. But in 2026, we're watching it become literal. Neural interface technology, like Elon Musk's Neuralink, is moving from experimental to commercial. Brain-computer interfaces that allow direct communication between human minds and AI systems are being approved for medical use. But the implications go far beyond medicine. By 2026, experts predict that early adopters will be integrating these technologies for enhancement, not just healing. Enhanced cognition, direct access to information, connection to AI networks. And once integration begins, the line between human and machine blurs. The book of Daniel speaks of a time when there will be those who mingle themselves with the seed of men, a cryptic phrase many scholars now interpret as genetic or technological alteration. By 2026, the technology to fundamentally alter what it means to be human will not only exist, it will be marketed as necessary for survival in an AI-dominated world. Let's connect all 7 signs. In 2025, we saw the digital identity infrastructure established and geopolitical alliances forming. In 2026, we're predicted to see a global food crisis creating dependency, spiritual deception reaching critical mass, an anti-Israel coalition solidifying, a universal digital economic system becoming operational, and transhumanism being normalized. These aren't isolated events. They're interconnected pieces of a prophetic puzzle described thousands of years ago. Each sign enables the next. Digital identity allows economic control. Economic control creates dependency during crisis. Crisis opens the door for deception. Deception justifies surveillance and alliance, and technology integration completes the system. The evidence is overwhelming. We are living in prophetic times, and 2026 is shaping up to be a pivotal year. If these revelations have opened your eyes, and you want to stay informed and prepared, then you must subscribe to Mysteries Behind the Scroll right now. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next investigation into these unfolding prophecies. And leave a comment. Which of these 7 signs concerns you most? How are you preparing? Your voice matters in this community. The journey into biblical mysteries is just beginning. Click on one of these videos to continue your exploration and deepen your understanding of these critical times. Until next time, keep seeking the truth.